Hello and welcome to Community Forum. My name is Roy Cohen and I'll be hosting this particular show. And my guest is Selectman Joe Mokrisky. And I welcome you to the show, Joe.
Thank you, Roy. It's good to see you again. It's been some time.
It's been a while.
Yes, it has.
I had intended just to ask you town questions, but I hear that you had quite an exciting weekend. I want to get into that, I think. Tell
Sure.
us about it. You wound up going down into Newport for some kind of a convention.
Yeah, it was actually our antique fire truck owned by the Stoughton Historical Society. For folks who have never seen it, is a 1928 Maxim fire truck that was bought new in Stoughton, ordered in 1927, delivered in early 1928 for a sum of $7,368. And it served the town of Stoughton until 1956 when it was retired. And in its retirement, it went to first a monastery in North Dartmouth to protect their buildings. And then it moved along down to the south coast of Massachusetts, Plymouth, Carver area, Plimpton, and it was used to pump water at cranberry bogs, flooding each cranberry bog to harvest the cranberries. After that, it came back to Brockton and it was refurbished. Actually, one step earlier, it was purchased back from the cranberry bogs by a gentleman in Somerset. And he started the refurbishment, and two firefighters from Brockton took over from there and finished it with the help of a guy named Fred Mercier, Mercier's Garage in West Bridgewater. So I came across the truck back in 2003. And when we were doing the rededication for Pye Park down at Central and Canton Street. And when I showed up, you know what it's like when you're a selectman. You think you know everything about your town and, there's nothing left to know. I saw this old fire truck with the name Stoughton on the hood. And I said, wow, look at that. Some collector has a fire truck and he put the name Stoughton on it. And that's when I was made aware of the history of it. By a guy named Bill Donovan. So Bill Donovan and I quickly became very quick friends. And he had said if he ever gets rid of it, he'd like it to go back to Stoughton. And I said, well, I'll be the guy that purchases it. A couple of years later, Bill started to get sick and he couldn't drive the truck anymore. So he sold it to us. And I started a fundraising effort. And of the $12,000 purchase price, I was able to get $8,000. Almost $9,000. And my last stop to raise money was with developer Terry Conroy, who had done a lot of work in Stoughton, and he was very generous to the town of Stoughton, with his donations. So I had told him I was, I kind of hit the wall at this purchase price, but I'm going to still work it. I just figured I would ask him what he could do because he had greater assets than a lot of people and could probably do a little bit more. So he told me at the time, well, give me 2 weeks to think about it and come back and see me. So I did. A couple of weeks later, I called him up and he says, you got almost $9,000. I said, yes, I do, Terry. I said, so I just want to try to get over the hump, and get the rest of it in. He says, well, what I'm going to do, Joe, is I'm going to buy the truck for the $12,000 purchase price. You take that I think it was $8,800. You take that money and you put it in the bank, that'll be your maintenance account. So that truck was basically given free of charge to the Historical Society, and the money that I raised became the maintenance fund. So we've kept up with the truck and we've had it at a lot of events. And, it's always been an older restoration. It was nice. It was as they say, a driver. You could take it out, enjoy it, take it to events. And in 2020, I applied for a Community Preservation Act grant for the restoration of the fire truck. And that process started. But when I made the presentation to the CPC committee, I shared with them that, during COVID, this engine 2 was the only piece of history that was going into the neighborhoods and visiting people living at home. The residents could come out of the house with their kids. They posed for pictures on the fire truck, and in front of it, they got to ring the bell, do the hand crank siren, things like that. And when they were done, we would wipe the truck down with, the towelettes to make sure that we didn't catch COVID if anybody had it. But we did this for hours on end every weekend, just driving aimlessly around neighborhoods, and we would put it on Facebook what neighborhood we were going to be in. So all that presentation, unanimously, the Community Preservation Act, the committee rather, voted $185,000 to have the truck fully restored, and that means it was every nut and bolt were taken off. I have pictures of it when it was just two frame rails, in a gymnasium in storage, just waiting to get worked on. So we got it back in June of this year, right at the beginning of June, and we had it in the 4th of July parade, as many people saw. Well, out of the blue, I got an invite from the O'Drain Auto Museum down in Newport, Rhode Island, and they do an event every year called the D'Elegance Concourse, where the most highly collectible and most expensive cars across the country show up at this show. And they were saying at some point, there was a $3 million car over there, and there's a $1 million car. And that was sort of the theme of the day, is how rare all these cars were. And it was hosted by Jay Leno. And there were more celebrities there than I could shake a stick at, when it comes to antique auto restoration and collections. So Jay Leno come up to, because he does love fire engines. The man that had a display next to me at this event was the guy that Jay Leno uses on all of his fire apparatus. He's out of Maine. His name is Andy Swift. So we got talking, and Jay had come over. He'd come over to look at the fire apparatus that was there. There were about 7 pieces. And Jay spent about a good 20 minutes to a half hour with us, just looking over the truck and talking about it, learning a little bit about the history of the Maxim Fire Company that built it in Massachusetts, Middleborough, Massachusetts. And I was sharing the story of the town of Stoughton, that we actually have videos of that truck from years back, and quite a few pictures at different fires in town where Engine 2 was in the picture. So it was, Roy, it was a lifetime moment that you just don't get when you have, somebody of Jay Leno's caliber. He has over 180 cars and 160 motorcycles in his own collection in Burbank, California. And he basically has buildings as big as aircraft hangars, for his collection. So he's got shows all over TV. You have Jay Leno's Garage. He has cleaning products. So he's definitely up there when it comes to the level of collectors of antique vehicles, classics, hot rods, you name it. So it was definitely nice. We ran into another man, 2 other people, Wayne Carini, who had a show called Chasing Classic Cars. It was on the Velocity Network, and now Motor Week owns them. And a very good friend of his, who I talked with for quite a while, was Ralph Morano. Ralph is the world's largest collector of Packard automobiles, and his, again, priceless collection that he has. So it was really a nice opportunity to meet, all these people that are world renowned for what they do in antique auto restoration, and they were impressed with, Stoughton's Engine 2. So it was a real fun day. We walked away with, a couple videos of me walking around showing Jay the truck, and then countless photos, because my wife took a lot of pictures, and then we had some group photos that other friends that were there helped us with, and I took pictures of them. They took pictures of me. So it was definitely Stoughton hitting national stage when it comes to antique vehicles.
Excellent. It's really nice. So, by the way, Joe, congratulations on the wedding. I understand that you recently got married.
I got married last year. Yeah, we've been married. Got married July 5th last year. And my girlfriend at the time, Maria Simus, we got married on July 5th. And it's an odd thing to get married at 62. I never really thought I would, thinking, well, we're an item, we're not going anywhere, and but then it was the right step to get married. And Maria has been the light of my life, my partner in crime. We do everything together. And as much as I'm out there in the town and doing a bunch of things, I just look forward to coming home and sitting and talking with her. We have a lot of fun. But thank you. I appreciate the kind words.
It's my pleasure. Um, what were you doing down this truck convention?
Oh, which one? The one I was just at?
Yeah, the one you were just at with the truck.
Yeah. Well,
What are you doing?
it
You're
was just there for show, Roy. There was all these, there was thousands and thousands of aficionados or people that have collections all over the country. And every area has its type of vehicles, that are locally made. Back when automobiles were being made, there was a lot of small companies, and that was the story with the Maxim Fire Company. Is Carlton Maxim, who was the founder of the Maxim Motor Truck Company, the fire truck company. He was the chief of the fire department in Middleborough, and I guess they were having a problem with a fire truck. And he was very animated with his anger and said, "This is a piece of crap," and that's putting it mildly. And he says, "We got to do better than this." And they said, "Well, build a truck yourself, and maybe we'll buy it from you." Well, he took them up on the challenge. And he started out with various body chassis, Chevys and Fords, Dodge. And he built trucks for the military. He built passenger vehicles for a while in the early 1900s. And what the fire chiefs liked about the Maxim company locally is that they could change what they didn't like, and he would build something different to suit their needs. So this one, the 1928 Maxim V50 that we have here in Stoughton is... what I'm told is the only one of its age that has such a level of restoration. There's a couple earlier, a couple later, but this is the only 28. So it did draw a lot of attention. Like I said, when we were there, Jay had stopped over because it was his event, and he has his own fire apparatus. So he was definitely going to be making a stop at this one. We were hoping we had the chance to meet him, just to shake his hand. But he, like I said, he spent quite a bit of time with us. Learned about, Stoughton's Engine 2 and the history of the truck and our town. So it was nice.
Did he make you an offer that you couldn't refuse?
Yeah, no. I have a board of directors that I don't think would want to sell it either. And that is a priceless piece of Stoughton's history. And we have another piece that we were able to return to Stoughton, and it's older than the fire truck. We also were able to get back an 1853 Honeyman hand pump. Now this one here was moved by manpower to a fire, and it's a hand pump. So that piece of equipment actually was transferred over to the town of Avon when they seceded from Stoughton. Avon used to be East Stoughton. So the Honeyman hand tub went to Avon when they became Avon, and they kept it for some time, and then unfortunately, they got rid of it. It traveled the East Coast. It was tracked down into Georgia at an antique shop, and so forth. But we were able to get this back in Stoughton. It was put in the Stoughton Fire Union. I got them a donation with bring it back, but they thought it was better for it to be in the possession of the Stoughton Historical Society, where we had already done this, and we're doing a couple other things, that are fire related. So we'll have our hand tub that we hopefully will be able to get some money to get that restored, which will only be about a half of the price of what we paid for Engine 2.
Wow, stupid.
That's exciting, Joe. I'm very jealous. I wish I was there, and I wish I had the vehicle to play with as you, no doubt.
Yeah, well, we got to get you for a ride on it someday, Roy.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's a lot of
fun. Do you have videos of what you went through this weekend?
I do. I wish I knew how to share the screen and so forth, but they're on my phone at this time. It's not something that's even on my computer. So I got to learn how to do that.
Okay, let's put this in the to-do list.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I'd love to work on it with you when the time is right.
Sure. No.
Okay, Joe. That's the first half of the program that I wanted to do with you. The main part is you as Joe Mokrisky selectman or select person. I don't know how they're calling
Yep,
you
select board member. Yep,
select board member. How many you're on it now, and how many years have you been serving?
21 years, Roy, and that goes back to 32 years in total. I started, as you remember, I started in 1986 on the finance committee. Served a couple of years there. Um, Ran in 92, was elected in 92. And I've been on and off. I served for a while as redevelopment authority chair. We got a lot of good things done during that period of time. And I'm just into my seventh term, which will conclude in April of 2025. So that's a total of 21 years, 7 terms, which blows my mind that I can even say that.
That's a long time, Joe.
It is. It is.
Are
I
you
do.
the longest serving member, or is it?
No, no. The longest serving member of the board was Fred Phillips, the founder of FC Phillips Screw on 138.
Really?
Yeah, he did 26 years. That's the longest serving selectman in the town's history. Charlie Atanis, I got when I went into this term, I got Charlie. God willing, I survived the rest of the year. I will take second place, and Charlie will be the third.
Well, congratulations. I'm sure that there'll be some kind of a party for you.
Might be a lynching party. I got to watch out.
Uh, well, you've been on the board all this time. What changes have you seen from
Oh,
day one?
endless. You kidding me? Endless. It was. I remember some of the people. I'm not going to mention names, but there were some people that I met that I thought were just curmudgeons, stuck in the mud. And when I got elected, and you know what it's like when you get elected and you're young, you think you know everything. I wish I knew then what I know now, but they saw the change in the town, and I come in thinking there's no problem, and let's just keep moving forward and things like that. So, in my older age, I understood what they were saying because the town has changed significantly. If we look around just how our town looks now, the types of buildings are going up, everything's housing, not as much of a push on user-friendly business in downtown. Look at the traffic in downtown. I mean, if we look back just 10 years ago, it wasn't as bad as it is now. There's just so much traffic coming through, and they're not Stoughton residents. This is just using our streets as a cut through because Route 24 is so bad now. They use it a lot to get from that area to go through Stoughton, through Sharon to get to 95 South instead of staying on the highway in gridlock. So the business world's changed after COVID. There's a lot of businesses didn't recover, and the buildings are still there, but we just attracting different tenants now. So the town's changed. The good part of it is that we've during this time of change, we've been thinking differently. There's a different mindset of my colleagues, and most recently, with the addition of Tom Coulter as the new town manager, other town managers, and again, names, I'm not going to go with, but other town managers, as you know, Roy, they get politically, in a tough position. And then you get people from outside, the people that, go out and try to make change without being elected. But then even some of the elected officials will push, town managers out the door. And that's happened before, unfortunately. But this town manager has learned how to work with everyone, and he is tough. He's good. He's fair. And man, he is lighting up the position of town manager. Working with the board, we finally, as you know, took a 32-year talk and conversation about the need of a new fire station, and we put it to work. We eliminated the big conglomerate of what was being talked of, a $65 million public safety building, and we built an affordable fire station. Got a $6.5 million grant to renovate the old station to be used for emergency services and health and wellness programs, human resources, and oh my gosh, not even human resources. I'm trying to think of the phrase they use it, but for health and welfare of the community. The visiting nurses will go there. The Board of Health will go there. The fire chief's office and the deputy chiefs and assistant chief, they'll all be in that building. And we served all of our needs, for time, years and years to come at a fraction of the cost that it would have cost, with the old program. So we're working smarter, reducing reducing the need to raise new taxes. The fire station was an override, taxpayers paid for, but it was a realistic building. We didn't go and build the Taj Mahal. We built for our needs and for future use, for the expansion. So that station is going to last a long time, and we did it at an affordable rate.
Are you happy with the location?
I would have liked a better location, Roy, but it just didn't work out. We had one person that was trying to sell us a piece of property at an inflated cost, and then the property was cut in half at almost the same price. The station works. I would have liked more land, but the building that we have allows us, for growth. We can add on to this building towards the back and towards the side, and even come out in the front. So there's more than available land, to be used if we needed to add on. But I think we've got a good 50 to 60 years in that building before we have any real big needs. Question is, let's just make sure we keep up with it and it doesn't fall into disrepair. That's where we've failed a lot in the years past. We never really put money into the upkeeps of the buildings the way we should have. And then when the check was due, there was a lot more money.
I would assume that the access road belongs to the town also.
Yes, it does. Yeah, we own all that land that the former American Legion site, as you're familiar with, and that driveway is there, and we own everything.
What about signalization? Is there going to be anything done like new traffic lights?
Yep, there'll be signalization there to stop the traffic when the apparatus is coming out on an emergency. That's called the OptiScan. So when they come out of the station, there's a signal that goes right out and stops the traffic.
Well, that should be interesting.
Yeah.
How is the relationship with the town's board?
We're doing well. I mean, Roy, it hasn't changed. You know what it's like when you were on the board years ago. You get 5 people there, 5 different points of view, 5 different agendas, if you want to call it that, but what they want to accomplish. And it gets difficult. It does get difficult. You get a collision of ideas, and sometimes people just can't work through it. But as a group, we're getting the job done. We're working with our new town manager, supporting him as well. We have had total realignment of departments. We've had some people, our employees, that haven't met the challenge, and they're no longer with us. But just coming in and doing the job, isn't the way it's supposed to be. You serve the residents of the town, and we're supposed to be doing a good job in everything, whether it's water, sewer, trash, library, police, fire, everything that the municipal side of government, we're exempt, we're not a part of the schools operation, but give the taxpayer their money's worth. Provide the services at the highest level at a realistic price. And this town manager, being a businessman, other than Stephen Astis when he was the interim for a while, we've never had a businessman, somebody that's bought and sold businesses, rebuilt companies, invested. This person knows what it's like, and he is doing a fabulous job. I'm proud to support him. And 90% of the time, he has, at least a majority, if not, the entire board voting to support him on these projects.
That's nice to hear. Obviously, I've had the opportunity or given the privilege of being on the board of selectmen for 8 years, and I'm jealous of the changes that I see you making. I wish I was part of it.
Well, it's Roy. You know the challenges. Those challenges haven't changed because everybody has different ideas. What's changed is really the mood of people, the advocacy. There's a lot more people attending select board meetings with the implementation of citizens' comments. a lot of people show up and want the board to know their thoughts. At times, there are people that forget that it's just it's a citizen's comments, and they come up and use it as, in some cases, a soapbox to try to move a political agenda, and that's not what it's for. So it's, I guess the issues change a little bit, but it's still there. It's democracy at its best, really. I mean, local government. I mean, we've said this before, that local government has more authority over the taxpayers in Stoughton than the president of the United States, with the exception of the migrant issue, because that's the first time in my history I've ever seen a policy of the president of the United States affect my hometown. But we're dealing with that. We're getting better at it for some time. The state was doing a horrible job in just throwing people, into the town. And with the hotels taking on all these migrants, we were losing a little better than $500,000 a year in tax revenue through the hotel tax. Through the leadership of the town manager, we worked with the governor's office to resolve that. And I'll give the credit to the town manager, is that the governor finally took it upon herself to reach out to her people, and the money that we were losing was put right into the bank for us. They transferred funds, and we've been now made whole, and we're not losing that money anymore.
Anybody have a total number on the number of migrants in Stoughton?
It's fluctuating. I believe at one point it was 100 and something, at two different hotels of kids going into the schools. And I believe there was a 200 and something on total population. But it's had an effect on the schools. And unfortunately, it costs more to educate a child than what the state gives you. Nothing has changed there. But we're like all these other communities where we're making do with it. It does put an additional strain. But on the flip side of these additional strains, at least we're meeting it. We're attracting new development. We finally, again, working as a team with the town manager and the select board, we finally got the hole in the ground filled. There's a building there that'll be paying taxes pretty soon. We've attracted more new business, expansion of business. Down in the area of Campanelli Ave and Schumann Road when the sewer project went in. So we're getting a little bit more tax dollars. I was honored just recently to play a major role in bringing a warehouse project, which is over 1 million square feet of warehouse space, to the former Simeone property that runs from Turnpike Street over to Page Street. And that project in property taxes alone is going to bring $2.3 to $2.7 million in new revenue to the taxpayers of Stoughton. When you add in personal property tax for like forklifts and conveyor systems and everything that goes inside those buildings, we could be looking at $4 to $5 million in new revenue. And again, that's $4 to $5 million that Stoughton taxpayers don't have to put the bill for. That's going right into the general fund. So we're working together. We're making a difference. We're getting things done. And sometimes you got to check the egos at the door and the political agendas and look at delivering results.
Well, you mentioned the hole in the ground. It's very strange to be through the square and see this monstrosity going up.
I know. Unfortunately, I'm not crazy about all the housing. I like to balance it with business, but the business we're attracting is not in downtown. It's, nobody wants to go in there. And if you've seen it, and everybody watching today can see the businesses that change there. It's just a tough place to do business because nobody wants to fight the traffic to get through there. On the off hours, early in the morning and later at night, after the commuting hours are over, there's the restaurants we have there, the couple that are there, do better during that time. But during the day, nobody wants to go near it. So it may take something drastic as we move forward, but it's going to be tough. But again, we still have land that we can build on a commercial basis, and remodel and increase the value per square foot on this, commercial property that will help us weather the storm. I see us doing well for another few years. I'm hoping to be a part of that next few years as well. I'll be up for re-election in April of 2025. So we'll hoping to continue all the great things we've accomplished to this point. I think that my crowning achievement to this point in my career has been that we finally, and you heard the conversations, Roy, when you were a selectman back in the 80s as well, about the need for a fire station. We finally got it built. Long overdue, but we finally got it built. And that's something that I'm the most proud of in my career.
What's going to be with the unit on Freeman Street?
That's going to be the executive offices of the fire chief, deputy chiefs, the assistant chief, the board of health, I believe, is going to be there. I know the visiting nurses are going to be there. And I'm corrected. No, that's not the board of health, just the visiting nurses. There'll be clinics there, things like that. And it's also going to be an emergency dispatch center. When we have bad storms, what happens is all the utilities will come to that location, and we'll have, communication right in one room with police, fire, National Grid, the gas company, the electric company, whoever it is, will all be in that room coordinating, so that we have the best services during any kind of an emergency.
Well, that unit, the new building that's going into filling up the hole, is like 50% of the things that I was concerned about for years. Yeah. The other 50% is the movie theater. What's going on with that?
Yeah, well, that's unfortunately, I don't see that ever happening. I have my own personal opinions that are not important, but it just won't happen. It was unfortunate. There was a lot of movement, but it was just a lot of movement. There was no results. There were short-term goals. Once in a while, something happened that seemed enlightening or some positive news, but when it's all said and done, a lot of money was raised. It didn't make a difference on the building.
So we're not going to see the theater as far as you're concerned?
It's extremely doubtful. Extremely doubtful. There was a chance. There was a gentleman, if you remember the name, Bill Haney. Bill Haney owns the North Shore Performing Arts Center, and he owned a chain of theaters at the time. And he offered to be a part of it, but the people that were in control of that project were more or less looking to him to bankroll everything, thinking that he'll build it and they'll be a part of it. And that's not what business people want. They don't want to just pay for somebody's bills. There's going to be a return on investment. And there was no means of showing the return on investment. How are you going to get people in the door? What's coming in? And again, if you don't have anything substantial going on, how do you expect somebody to invest their money into something that's on, life support? And that's more or less what that project was for a long period. It's just on life support. They were just hanging in, trying to make it happen. My hat goes out to everybody that did, but when it's all said and done, it just moved on.
Sorry to hear that, Joe. I would rather have you telling a story of a more positive nature.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of great things going on, Roy. That's only one that didn't work out the way we would have liked. But as a town, with the challenges for municipal government and taxes, taxpayers are being hit in so many different directions. At least we're bringing in revenue. We're not just going and saying, okay, we got to raise taxes again. We're getting new business. We're getting, good business that is going to, provide additional revenue to our budget.
Okay. How about the Historical Society? What's going on with that?
Well, lots of great things. The Historical Society, as you know, it's been around since the 1700s. The Lucius Clapp building is on the National Register of Historic Places. And we have a lot of information at our Historical Society. I'm honored to be, I was elected to the chair of the board of directors position, and working with the president of the society, Dwight McCarran. We're starting to make some changes and to bring some new programs out there, build our membership. And what does hurt us is that two things: the building's not handicapped accessible, so that does prevent some of our people that have slight disabilities that can't make it up the stairs or whatever. It makes it tougher. So what we've done is opened up the door to running events at either the library the town hall or the council on aging. All these buildings are handicapped accessible. The benefit seems to be the most with the council on aging because everything's on one floor. There's a kitchen, so we can provide refreshments. There's enough floor space to do everything. So we're going to be initiating a new membership drive, updated website, a bunch of things. So we're looking forward to that. Historical Society, financially solvent. We're not going anywhere. My hope is to merge. They're now back in the building, but we have the Stoughton Musical Society, the old Stoughton Musical Society, which is the oldest organized musical society in the entire country. And that's right here in Stoughton. So we're going to be working together on building some ideas together that bring the music history of Stoughton and the Stoughton Old Musical Society, into some programs so people can learn more, see where all the history that's in our town.
The Old Stoughton Musical Society. I can't remember the name of the active members of that society.
Oh, they were the greats, Roy. They were the greats of Stoughton. They had Bud McMahon, Ina McMahon, David Benjamin, Roger Hall. Yeah, David Benjamin. I mean, there was all the people that were the movers and shakers of Stoughton when I was elected in '92. They're most of them are all gone now, and but I try to honor what they did and to stay dedicated to the cause the way they were, because those are the people I looked up to when I got involved. And we want to get some more young people. I'm in the telephone book. If anybody wants to join or wants to learn more, they can give me a call or get me through town hall. But we want to have a new membership. We want to do things. We want to bring some history, bring it alive, learn what is done. Dwight McCarran, the current president of the Historical Society, has been there a long time. He's done numerous books on, war diaries of Stoughton people that were at the Civil War. Talk about the Revolutionary War. Just the building of Stoughton, the mills, the roads, how Stoughton matured, factories, and so forth. There's so much history in Stoughton. Stoughton, there was one of the great patents is Elijah Drake had patented the current design of a baseball, a Major League Baseball. The only problem was he didn't get to the patent office fast enough, and somebody beat him there. So, but we at one point had the actual mold that was taken before Congress for what the Lincoln Memorial was. And a gentleman had possession of the mold, the one that actually sat in the Hall of Congress. So the congressmen and senators knew what they were voting for. And it was done by the sculptor. We had that on display at our Historical Society, and it was nice to be able to get that done, so people can see pieces of history. That's the great thing with Engine 2. It represents an era of our town, 1928 when it started to 1956, and the great people manned that truck. So we're remembering names, we're remembering history in our town and its history.
Joe, I'm looking at that tractor behind you in the window ledge.
Yeah.
Reminds me of something I wanted to ask you. I understand that one of the businessmen that you can count on to do the heavy hauling is Sherm.
Yes. Sherm's, John Doyle and Sherm Epro are very, very, very generous with the use of their ramp truck that they let me take and to transport Engine 2 when we're going out great distances. Again, we were down in Rhode Island for the weekend, down in Newport. I've been up to Wakefield. I've been down in the Plymouth area, things like that. And they when I need it, it's always there. And John and Sherm, I can't thank them enough. They're great guys.
It's nice to hear that you have some business people who are helpful in doing things like that for the town.
Yeah, there were people. There's a gas station that when funds were low, they donated gas for the fire truck. So I've been very, very busy trying to raise money for it, and I'm happy to say right now that the fire truck program is solvent, and we've got enough money that we don't have to worry about for the next probably 5 to 7 years or more. It shouldn't take a lot of money to maintain it. It's all brand new, been restored, so it's just going to be upkeep and insurance for the most part.
You're a good man, Joe. I appreciate your time with this interview. Been very informative.
No,
And
my pleasure, Roy. I'd like to do more. There's so much more to talk about with the good things that are being done in Stoughton. We're moving forward. We're weathering the storm, and I can say that we're representing the taxpayers to the best of our ability. I know that there's that time, and my time's coming soon. Is that when it's time for reelection? That's when you got to tell people why you deserve to be reelected. And as you know, and I both know, sometimes they don't put you back. They decide they want to try something different. But I look forward to having that opportunity to share with the residents what I've done the last 2 terms anyway, and ask for another one, to make it a 9th term. So.
got to put you ahead of Charlie Atatis.
Well, I'm there now by a few months. As of April, that was when my last term took place, and as of April, I became the second longest serving selectman in the town's history. So
very good, Joe. You're doing a great job, and I appreciate it. And I'm sure the town's residents is all, when they hear about what you've done, also feel the same way.
Well, thank you so much, Roy. Again, I look forward to hopefully sooner than later that we can talk a little bit more about the many programs, the things we've done, to work smarter and harder for the residents of the town, so that we get the largest return on our tax investments. This town manager has really stepped up to the plate and made a difference, made a huge difference in our town.
Joe, thank you very much for spending time with me. I appreciate it. And anything in the future, my number. I'm easy to reach.
You always have been, and you're a great guy, Roy. I appreciate you giving me this bunch of your time. But I will be calling you sooner or later to see if we can do a phase 2 on this.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.